Lyra stepped lightly across the viewing chamber, her silver skin catching the blue light of her homeworld's 3 moons. The 17-year-old Astari moved to her private study pod, sealing the door with a touch of her 6-fingered hand. She wasn't supposed to access Earth broadcasts. No one was. "Display intercept," she whispered. The wall shimmered and transformed into a window to a world 20 light-years away. Humans moved across the screen. They were strange creatures. Only 2 arms, rounded ears and skin in various shades of brown. They lacked the metallic shimmer of Astari skin, or the height that came from evolving on a high-gravity world. "Focus search educational institutions," Lyra commanded. The images shifted to what humans called a university. Young males walked together, laughing, pushing each other playfully. One tall boy with dark hair caught her attention. He smiled. Easily, his arm draped around a friend's shoulder. Lyra leaned closer. Astari never touched casually. Touch was for formal greetings or medical needs. Emotions were kept controlled and private. But these humans, they seemed to communicate through touch as much as words. Subject 27, she named the boy, recording his movements for later study. Day after day, Lyra returned to her forbidden observations. She watched Subject 27 play sports, study with friends, and once comfort another male who seemed distressed. The human had placed his hand on his friend's back, speaking quietly until the other smiled. What is he saying? Lyra wondered. The transmission carried no sound. Her mother noticed changes in her behavior. Your mind seems distant during lessons, she said during evening meal. The academy evaluations are approaching. I am focused, Lyra lied, thinking of the humans and their expressive faces. That night, an official message appeared on her terminal. Interspecies Cultural Exchange Program now accepting applications. Lyra read quickly. Earth had recently joined the Galactic Alliance. Now they sought knowledge exchange between worlds. 10 spots were available for young Astari to study at Earth universities. No Astari had yet volunteered. Her heart raced, an uncomfortable sensation Astari were trained to suppress. She could go to Earth. She could see humans up close. She could understand why they laughed so freely and touched so easily. Without allowing herself to reconsider, Lyra submitted her application. Her family's reaction was swift. Withdraw immediately, her father ordered. His face showed no emotion, but his voice carried the slight pitch change that indicated extreme displeasure. Earth is primitive. Humans are unstable, ruled by emotions. My academic record qualifies. Me, Lyra countered. The Science Council seeks first-hand observation of humans. Others will go, her mother said. Focus on your academy placement. But no others applied. Humans were considered an academic curiosity at best, dangerous at worst. Their wars, their emotional displays, their physical expressions, all suggested an underdeveloped species. 3 days later, Lyra was summoned to the High Council chamber. 5 elderly Astari sat at curved desks, their silver skin dulled with age. Your application is unprecedented, the first speaker noted. Explain your interest. Lyra had prepared logical reasons. Humans have achieved space travel despite their emotional nature. Their art forms demonstrate unique creativity. I seek to understand how emotion connects to innovation. She didn't mention the strange feeling she got watching the human boys laugh together. How their casual touches made her wonder what Astari might have lost in their pursuit of logic and order. The council deliberated silently, communicating through the slight telepathic ability all Astari shared. Application approved, the first speaker finally announced. You depart in 30 days. You will report weekly. You will maintain Astari dignity. Remember, you represent our world. News of her selection spread quickly. Other students avoided her. Her parents spoke to her only when necessary. They fear what you might become, her younger brother said one night, the only family member still speaking to her freely. I'm studying humans, not becoming one, Lyra replied. As departure day neared, Lyra packed her few allowed personal items. She searched Earth broadcasts one last time, finding Subject 27 sitting under a tree reading alone. "I will meet your kind soon," she whispered. On the morning she left, Lyra stood tall before her silent family. "I will bring honor to our people." Her mother stepped forward, breaking protocol. "Return to us as you are now," she said quietly. "Do not let their chaos change you." Lyra boarded the interstellar transport, her heart beating fast despite her training. Ahead lay Earth, a world of color, noise, and emotion. A world where people touched freely and laughed without restraint. A world where she might finally understand the strange emptiness she'd always felt on Astar. Lyra clutched the handrail as the small shuttle entered Earth's atmosphere. The craft shook harder than expected, making her silver skin shimmer with stress patterns. After 3 weeks in deep space, arrival felt sudden and overwhelming. "Prepare for landing," announced the automated voice. "Earth gravity is 63% of Astar standard. Adjust movement accordingly." The landing pad came into view, a small section of what humans called Seoul National University. Trees with green leaves surrounded gray buildings. Humans, in various colored clothes, moved below, tiny from this height. When the doors opened, Earth's air hit Lyra first, warm, damp, and filled with countless scents her translator couldn't identify. She took a careful step down the ramp, remembering her training. Her first step on Earth sent her bouncing awkwardly, the lighter gravity making her movements too strong. "Careful there," called a human female waiting at the bottom. "Everyone, is that their first time? I'm Hana, your campus guide." Lyra studied the human. Hana had dark hair pulled back, brown eyes, and skin several shades darker than the pinkish tones Lyra had observed in broadcasts. She wore blue pants and a white top with the university symbol. "I am Lyra of House Vantari, 7th District of Astar," she replied formally, bowing instead of offering the traditional Astari hand-touch greeting. "Just Hana is fine," the human smiled, showing teeth. "Let's get your things to your room. You're in Maple Hall." Lyra followed, taking small steps to avoid launching herself forward. Even with careful movements, she moved too quickly for Hana, who laughed and jogged to keep up. "You're going to be amazing at sports here," Hana said. "The other exchange students from high-gravity worlds always dominate track and field." As they walked across campus, humans stopped to stare. Some pointed, others took images with small devices. Lyra kept her face calm, though her heart raced uncomfortably. "Do not concern yourself with their attention," she told Hana. "It is logical they would find me unusual." "They'll get used to you," Hana promised. "We have students from 12 planets. Now, though you're our first Astari." The dormitory building loomed ahead, 5 stories of concrete and glass. Inside, more humans filled the common area. Conversation stopped when Lyra entered. She stood taller, her training keeping her face neutral despite her discomfort. "Your roommate is waiting upstairs," Hana said, leading Lyra to a small lifting platform. "Her name is Mina. She specifically requested an off-world roommate." Room 317 had 2 beds, 2 desks, and bright yellow walls that hurt Lyra's sensitive eyes. A human girl sat on one bed, jumping up when they entered. "You're here. I'm Mina." The girl moved forward with arms extended. Lyra stepped back quickly. "Astari do not embrace." Mina's arms dropped. "Sorry. I should have researched more. No touching. Got it." After Hana left, Mina helped Lyra unpack her few belongings. The human asked endless questions about Astar, barely waiting for answers before asking more. "Is your skin really silver all over? Why are your fingers so long? Can you really read minds? Do Astari have music? What's your favorite food?" Lyra answered patiently, though Astari rarely spoke so much at once. "Our skin contains metallic compounds. 6 fingers provide additional dexterity. We sense strong emotions but cannot read thoughts. Astari appreciate mathematical sound patterns. Our nutrition comes from synthesized proteins." "Sounds efficient," Mina said, her smile faltering. "Want to get dinner? The cafeteria has foods from different planets." The cafeteria overwhelmed Lyra's senses. Hundreds of humans talked at once, their voices echoing off high ceilings. Smells mixed together, some appealing, others making her stomach turn. The lights felt too bright, the movements too chaotic. "Are you okay?" Mina asked, noticing Lyra's discomfort. "You got really still." "I require adjustment time," Lyra managed, forcing her breathing to remain steady. Then she saw him across the room. Dark hair, tall frame, laughing with friends. Subject 27 from her research. In person, his movements seemed even more fluid, his smile more genuine. "Who is that male?" she asked, forgetting proper Astari restraint. Mina followed her gaze. "That's Jun. He's in the International Relations program." She grinned. "He's cute, right? Even aliens think so." "I observe for research purposes only," Lyra said quickly. Later that night, Lyra sat alone by her window. Earth's single moon cast pale light across the campus. Her body felt wrong in the lighter gravity. Her ears hurt from the constant noise. Everything smelled too strong. She composed her first report to the High Council. Humans exist in constant sensory chaos. Their bodies touch frequently. Their voices overlap. They show emotions openly, without apparent harm to social function. Didn't write about Jun, or how something inside her had shifted when she saw him laugh. She didn't mention her strange desire to understand why humans touched so freely. Some observations, she decided, would remain private. Tomorrow she would begin classes among humans. Tonight, under Earth's moon, she wondered if she had made a terrible mistake, or the most important decision of her life. Lyra entered the lecture hall for her first Earth class, Comparative Cultural Studies. She chose a seat near the back, calculating the optimal distance from other students. After 2 weeks on Earth, she still struggled with the constant noise and closeness of humans. Professor Kim, a short woman with gray-streaked hair, began the class with a smile. "Today we welcome our new exchange students. We have visitors from 5 planets this term." Students turned to look at Lyra and the other non-humans. A blue-skinned Marani raised 4 arms in greeting. 2 insectoid Trill clicked their mandibles. Only Lyra and a reptilian Vex remained motionless, as was proper for their species. "For our first exercise," the professor continued, "find a partner from a different world and ask 3 personal questions. Learn about their culture through direct inquiry." Panic flashed through Lyra's mind. Personal questions were considered deeply inappropriate on Astar. Before she could process this cultural violation, someone sat beside her. "Hi there. Mind if we partner up?" It was Jun, Subject 27, the human male she had observed in transmissions before coming to Earth. His dark eyes met hers directly, another cultural shock, as Astari considered sustained eye contact intimate. "That would be acceptable," Lyra managed, her voice more stiff than usual. "I'm Jun," he said, extending his hand. Lyra looked at the outstretched hand with alarm. Touching hands was reserved for family units or medical examinations on Astar. Humans did it casually as shaking hands once she had studied this but hadn't experienced it yet. "Astari hands have heightened sensitivity," she explained, keeping her 6-fingered hands firmly in her lap. "I am Lyra." Jun quickly withdrew his hand. "Sorry about that. Should have checked the cultural guide. What's appropriate for Astari greetings?" A slight nod acknowledges presence sufficiently. Jun nodded, smiling. "Like this?" More subtle, Lyra demonstrated a barely perceptible movement. Excessive movement suggests emotional instability. "Noted," Jun said, still smiling too widely. "By Astari standards." "So, first question, what brought you to Earth specifically?" Lyra had prepared an appropriate answer. "The scientific exchange program selected me to study human educational systems." "That's the official reason," Jun said. "But why did you apply?" "Most Astari avoid Earth." The unexpected follow-up caught her off guard. The truth, that she had become fascinated by human emotional expression, particularly his, was too personal to share. "I seek to understand differences," she said finally. Astar values logic, Earth values. She searched for a neutral word. Connection. Jun nodded. Good answer. Your turn to ask me something. Lyra considered culturally appropriate questions. What field of study do you pursue? International relations with a focus on interspecies diplomacy, Jun replied. I want to work for the United Earth Embassy someday. My second question, what's been the biggest surprise about Earth? Lyra hesitated. The constant physical contact between humans. On broadcasts, it seemed performative. Here, I observe it is genuine social bonding. Jun laughed. Yeah, we're pretty touchy compared to most species. Does it make you uncomfortable? It is fascinating, Lyra admitted. Then, surprising herself, how does it feel to touch so freely? Jun looked thoughtful. I've never had to put it into words before. It's reassuring, grounding. Reminds us we're not alone. The professor clapped her hands. Now exchange contact information for a follow-up assignment. Jun held out his communication device. Lyra carefully tapped her own device against his, transferring her student code without touching. Thanks, he said. Maybe we could study together. Sometime? I have questions about Astari diplomatic protocols for my thesis. That would be acceptable, Lyra replied, ignoring the strange flutter in her chest. Later that day, Lyra sat alone in the campus garden, recording observations. A shadow fell across her screen. Is this seat taken? Jun asked, pointing to the bench beside her. It is unoccupied, Lyra replied, moving slightly to create appropriate distance. Jun sat and opened a food container. Want some? He offered, holding out small rice balls. It's kimbap, seaweed, rice, and vegetables. Astari requires specific nutritional compounds, she explained. I consume prepared formulas. That sounds joyless, Jun said. Food here is more than nutrition. It's pleasure, culture, connection. Efficiency is valued on Astar, Lyra said. After a pause, curiosity overcame her training. What does it taste like? Jun looked surprised. You've never tasted Earth food? But you've been here 2 weeks. It could cause adverse reactions, Lyra explained. Have you checked? Our medical center can test compatibility. Lyra hadn't considered this possibility. The Astari briefing had simply instructed her to avoid local food. I will investigate this option, she said finally. They sat in silence for a moment. Nearby, human students laughed loudly, several lying on the grass in casual contact with each other. Your neural patterns show unusual activity when observing other humans, Lyra said suddenly, forgetting that humans considered mind-reading comments inappropriate. Jun stiffened. You can read my thoughts? No, Lyra quickly clarified. Astari perceive basic brain activity patterns. Strong emotions create visible energy signatures. I should not have mentioned it. Forgive the intrusion. Instead of being offended, Jun leaned closer, fascinated. What am I feeling right now? He challenged. Lyra reluctantly observed the faint glow around his head, visible only to Astari eyes. Curiosity, some apprehension, and... She paused, surprised. Happiness. Jun smiled. Pretty accurate, see? Cultural misunderstandings can lead to new understandings, too. As Jun continued eating, Lyra realized she had just engaged in her longest voluntary conversation with anyone, on any planet. Most concerning of all, she had enjoyed it. Lyra woke to the sound of her communication device buzzing urgently. The small silver disc projected a message in glowing Astari script. Report to embassy immediately. She dressed quickly, her fingers fumbling with unfamiliar earth clothes. In the month since her arrival, she had adopted some human garments for convenience, loose pants and a simple top that now felt strange against her silver skin. Outside her dormitory, the campus seemed unusually quiet for a morning. Then she noticed small groups of humans staring at screens, their faces showing anger or fear. Some looked up as she passed, their expressions hardening when they saw her. There she is, someone whispered loudly. One of them. Lyra quickened. her pace keeping her face neutral despite her confusion. At the campus gate, a sleek silver transport waited with the Astari embassy symbol on its side. The door slid open as she approached. "Enter quickly," ordered an older Astari male inside. Once the door sealed, he activated a privacy field. "I am Coordinator Talon. The situation is grave." "What situation?" Lyra asked, noticing his stress patterns rippling across his silver skin. Talon displayed a news projection. The headline read, "Alien Conspiracy. Non-human species classify Earth as experimental zone." The report detailed leaked documents from the Marani government, revealing that several alien species had been observing humans as research subjects without their knowledge. While Astari weren't specifically named, the report mentioned silver-skinned telepaths among the conspirators. "This is inaccurate," Lyra said. "Astari have no such program." "Truth is irrelevant now," Talon replied. "Humans group all non-terrestrials together. Anti-alien protests have started. The Council orders all Astari to return home immediately." "But my studies are concluded," he interrupted. "You depart tonight." At the embassy, 20 Astari waited in the evacuation area. Scientists, diplomats, and the 3 other exchange students sat in silence, their faces carefully blank despite the crisis. Lyra's device buzzed with a message from an unknown sender. "Are you safe? It's June." She hesitated, then replied, "At Embassy, departing Earth tonight." His response came quickly, without saying goodbye. "Meet me at the campus garden, please." Coordinator Talon approached. "Prepare your departure report. The transport leaves in 4 hours." Lyra made her decision. "I must retrieve research materials from campus first." Talon looked suspicious, but nodded. "Return within 2 hours. The situation deteriorates rapidly." The journey back to campus proved Talon right. Protesters gathered near the university gates, holding signs with messages like, "Aliens go home," and "Humans are not lab rats." Lyra kept her head down, grateful that her silver skin was mostly covered by clothing. She reached the garden without incident, finding Jun waiting on their usual bench. "You came," he said, relief clear in his voice. "It was important to explain," Lyra replied, maintaining proper distance. "Astari are not involved in any human experimentation. The reports conflate different species." "I know that," Jun said. "But people are scared and angry. They want someone to blame." A group of male students entered the garden, talking loudly. One pointed at Lyra. "Hey, Silver Skin, you part of the alien spy program?" Jun stood quickly. "She's leaving. Back off." The tallest human stepped forward. "We just want to ask some questions. Like, how long have your people been studying us without permission?" "Astari observe we do not experiment," Lyra said calmly, though her heartbeat accelerated. "Our records are open to human authorities." "Yeah, right." Another boy moved closer. "How do we know what you can do with those telepathic powers? Maybe you're controlling people." "That is physiologically impossible," Lyra stated, but they continued advancing. Jun stepped between them. "She's my friend. She's done nothing wrong." "Friend? She's an alien spy." The tall boy shoved Jun roughly. Without thinking, Lyra moved with her full Astari speed and strength, placing herself between Jun and the humans. The sudden movement, faster than human eyes could follow, startled everyone. "Whoa! Did you see that?" One boy gasped. "What else can you do that we don't know about?" Another demanded. Jun grabbed Lyra's arm, the first time he had touched her. "We need to go. Now." They ran, Lyra deliberately slowing her pace to match Jun's. Behind them, shouts grew fainter as they ducked into a small building Jun accessed with his student card. "Art department storage," he explained, breathing hard. "No one comes here." In the dim room surrounded by human art supplies, Lyra felt her careful control slipping. "I must return to the embassy. All Astari are leaving Earth. Because of ignorant fears?" "That's not right," Jun protested. "Running away solves nothing." "The Council has decided," Lyra said, but her voice lacked conviction. "What have you learned about humans in your time here?" June asked suddenly. "That you are emotional, impulsive, and—" She paused. "Capable of remarkable connection." June moved closer. "Show me." "What?" "You said a starry touch transfers thoughts. Show me what you've learned. Let me understand you before you go." Lyra hesitated. Sharing thoughts with a non-Astari was forbidden. Yet in this moment of crisis, the rules of her world seemed less important than the connection she had formed with this human. "It may overwhelm you," she warned. "I trust you," June said simply, extending his hand. Slowly, Lyra removed her protective glove. Her 6 fingers trembled slightly as she reached for June's hand. Their fingers touched, and the mental connection formed instantly. Images, feelings, and understandings flowed between them. Lyra's fascination with human emotion, June's curiosity about the stars, her loneliness on Astar, his hope for true interspecies friendship. No words, just pure knowing. When they finally separated, both were changed. "You came to Earth looking for something," June whispered. "Did you find it?" "Yes," Lyra replied, her voice carrying emotion for the first time. "And now I must leave it behind." 6 months after the crisis, Lyra stood before the High Council of Astar, her silver skin reflecting the pale blue light of the chamber. 12. Ancient Astari regarded her with blank expressions that nonetheless radiated disapproval. "Your request is unprecedented," stated the first speaker, her voice perfectly modulated. "No Astari has ever sought permanent assignment to Earth." "The diplomatic situation has stabilized," Lyra replied. "Human governments now distinguish between species. They understand Astari were not involved in unauthorized studies." "Yet protests continue," noted another council member. "Anti-alien sentiment remains high." "In some regions," Lyra acknowledged, "but educational institutions have become centers of cooperation. Seoul National University has specifically requested an Astari cultural liaison." The council members communicated, silently among themselves, their slight telepathic abilities allowing for private conference. Lyra waited, keeping her face neutral despite the churning emotions she had once been so skilled at suppressing. Finally, the first speaker addressed her. "Your reports from Earth showed concerning patterns. You adopted human behaviors. Your emotional regulation declined. You formed inappropriate attachments." "I adapted to function effectively in their society," Lyra countered. "To understand humans, one must experience their ways." "You shared mind touch with a human," stated the third speaker, his tone making the serious violation clear. Lyra had known this would come up. The connection she had shared with June before leaving Earth had been recorded in her neural patterns during her return examination. "Yes," she admitted. "In a crisis situation, it proved the most efficient way to convey complex information." "And did this human's mind survive the experience intact?" asked the second speaker with genuine curiosity. "Jun Kim's mind was not only unharmed but enriched," Lyra said. "He understood Astari perspective in ways no human teaching could provide. His diplomatic thesis on our species has been adopted by Earth's Interspecies Council." The mention of Jun's full name caused a ripple of discomfort among the council. Personal attachments were considered a weakness, a distraction from logical purpose. "Your interest in returning seems personal," observed the first speaker. Lyra had prepared for this moment during the long journey home. On Astar, she had struggled to readjust. The perfect order, the emotional restraint, the minimal physical contact all felt stifling after her time on Earth. "My interest is both personal and professional," she admitted, breaking a starry convention with her honesty. "Earth changed me. I learned that connection enhances understanding rather than hindering it." She reached into her formal robe and withdrew a small object, a painting June had created for her. It showed 2 hands reaching toward each other, one human with 5 fingers, one Astari with 6. "Humans express truth through art," she explained, displaying the painting. "Their emotional expression isn't primitive. It's another form of intelligence our species has neglected." The council members studied the painting with clinical interest. "You believe you can serve as an effective bridge between our worlds?" asked the fourth speaker. "I am already that bridge," Lyra replied. "I carry both perspectives within me now." After another silent conference, the first speaker announced their decision. "Your request is granted conditionally. You will serve 1 Earth year as cultural liaison. You will submit weekly neural scans to monitor for further changes." 3 weeks later, Lyra emerged from the transport ship at Seoul National University. The campus had changed little, though new security measures were visible at the gates, where all arrivals were scanned, human and non-human alike. Her old dormitory had been converted into the new Center for Interplanetary Studies. As she approached, a familiar figure waited at the entrance. Jun stood taller than she remembered, his dark hair longer, his smile just as warm. He maintained proper Astari distance as she approached. "Ambassador Lyra," he greeted her with a perfect Astari nod. "Welcome back to Earth." "Cultural Liaison Lyra," she corrected, returning the nod before adding a small human smile. "Not quite an ambassador yet." They walked together into the building, close but not touching. Students of various species moved through the halls, humans mingling with blue-skinned Marani, green-scaled Vex, and even 3 silver-skinned Astari, who had followed Lyra's path to Earth. In her new office, Lyra found a small plant on her desk, a peace lily according to the label. A note beside it read, "Plants need daily care, a good first lesson in Earth habits." "Jun, you remembered my interest in Earth biology," she observed. "I remember everything," he replied simply. The depth of his meaning was clear. Their shared mind touch had left permanent impressions. Lyra placed her few belongings on the desk, including a communication crystal from home and the painting Jun had given her. The 2 items side by side, Astari technology and human art, symbolized her new existence between worlds. "The council still doesn't understand why I wanted to return," she said. Jun moved slightly closer, still respecting her space, but close enough that she could sense the familiar pattern of his thoughts. Bright, warm, hopeful. "Do you understand?" he asked quietly. Lyra looked at him, then out the window where Earth's sun cast golden light across the campus. Her silver skin absorbed the warmth in a way that would never happen under Astar's distant blue star. "Yes," she answered, removing her protective glove and slowly extending her 6-fingered hand toward him. "I understand perfectly." Jun's 5 fingers met her 6, the connection between their minds flowing open once again. Not just thoughts, this time, but the emotions Astar had taught her to suppress. "I came across galaxies," Lyra said softly, "to learn what my world had forgotten. That true intelligence must include the heart." Outside her window, human and alien students walked, together under Earth's single sun, each learning from the other, each becoming more than they had been before.